Well, let's join two of the political best at a time when too many Australians believe on the political front we are scraping the bottom of the barrel. Conchetta Fierravanti-Wells, never caught out, always does her homework, but needless to say, the Liberal Party of today are wanting to move her on from the Senate. It defies belief. And Tanya Plibersek, something now of a political enigma. Even Liberals are saying if she were leading Labor, Labor would win the next federal election, which I suppose puts some heat on the Labor Party. But the polls are looking grim for the coalition because the electorate won't stomach promising and not delivering. Talking in cliches won't work. Well, here we go tonight, ladies. Thank you for your time. Can I just address this absolute mess in New South Wales? Conchetta, after 18 months of being told in the most boringly repetitive way, I raised this with Tony Burke, we must take the health advice. What could the Prime Minister have possibly meant yesterday when he intervened and pleaded with the Australian Technical Advisory Group on immunisation to change their AstraZeneca advice? Conchetta.
Look, ATAGI provides advice to government, Alan, and it's up to the government to make the relevant decisions. Now, medical experts do play a role, but ultimately the decision rests with the sovereign elected government of the day. So it's up to us then to make those decisions.
Well, Tanya, the Prime Minister said his government was making a constant appeal to the vaccine panel to reconsider the balance of risk. Is the Prime Minister trying to alter the advice and influence the science?
I think it's completely wrong, Alan, for politicians to get involved in trying to lobby our scientific experts and our medical experts to change the advice that they have come to after a lot of consideration and a lot of research. It's only the Prime Minister really trying to cover up the fact that he's stuffed up the vaccine rollout and that he hasn't got enough of the Pfizer vaccine, which is the one that, people are more keen to get at this stage.
Well, see, Conchetta, is this being hoisted on your own petard? I mean, have you ever seen any of this advice? They rabbit on about the health advice. We've never seen it. So what advice is the Prime Minister trying to alter?
Well, Alan, we know that if you go to ATAGI's website, it contains statements about COVID, weekly updates, meeting results and all of that sort of thing. But ultimately, Alan, as I said, it's up to government to make those decisions. And we as politicians should not be compromising our position and contracting out these important decisions to unelected medical experts.
But I agree with that. I've said that from day one, except that we have been told over and over and over again, we are taking the health advice. Berejiklian says it, he says it. I mean, Tanya Plibersek, I mean, is this, he says about the risks. I mean, should we, the electorate, be told what the vaccine risks are, if there are any? We've not heard a word from government about that.
Yeah, I think it is important to be as frank as possible in going through the benefits and any risks that go along with vaccination. But I can tell you, Alan, I've had my first dose of AstraZeneca. I'm going to line up in a couple of weeks' time to have my second dose, and I am under the age of 60. So I was in that group that was vaccinated when the advice was that it was appropriate for people over the age of 50 to have AstraZeneca. And, I know that there is an infinitesimal risk. I'm prepared to take that risk myself because I want to look after my family, my mother, my mother-in-law, the older people in my life, the community that I'm part of. So I'll be there.
Well, see,
I'll be there with my sleeve rolled up.
Right. Well, see, Conchetta, my point is, though, can you understand this vaccine hesitancy derives a lot from the confused messages? If we were told that people under 60 shouldn't use AstraZeneca, that was the advice, or talk to your doctor now, then you may be able to use AstraZeneca. That'll push up the vaccination rates, which might help the Prime Minister's political fortunes. Conchetta, it's a bad time to be seeking to alter the health advice, giving it to the under 60s, when the two deaths reported today, 44 and 48, from thrombocytopenia syndrome. Is this going to increase vaccine hesitancy rather than embrace vaccination?
Alan, I Regrettably, I think it will. I think what we need now is a very clear and a very simple
Yep.
message and a campaign which highlights the positive benefits of vaccination, but also stresses, especially the low risks of
Yep.
blood clots. I mean, let's not forget that you've got a higher probability of getting a blood clot on a long distance flight than you have from taking the AstraZeneca vaccine.
Can I just leave you? We always run out of time. To Tanya and Conchetta, can I leave you with one thing which really disturbs me? And I haven't had time to raise this tonight. I've got pharmacists in West and Southwest Sydney writing to me and ringing me, wanting to vaccinate multicultural customers, but they're not allowed because the pharmacists didn't apply before February 5, so they're not part of the vaccine rollout. Now, surely, I'll leave it with you, we haven't got time to talk about it, but if the government are fair dinkum, why don't they allow the pharmacists in Fairfield, Liverpool and Canterbury Bankstown to actually get on with the vaccinations? Can I leave that both with you? And if the problem's still crook, we'll talk about it next week. But thank you so much for your time. I do always appreciate your input.
Thank you.